Hey guys, and this is the review for episode 11 of Teen Wolf Season 3. This episode is titled Alpha, and we have one more episode to go. It's going to be titled Lunar Eclipse, and that's going to be on August 19th. But here's the review for episode 11. Alright, so we start off this episode with Styles trying to pretty much wake up Derek, who's lying unconscious on the floor of the elevator where Jennifer Blake had left him. So he ends up kind of slapping him a couple of times. Then he gets then he figures like, okay, maybe the slaps ain't working because he's a wolf, so maybe I need something harder to wake him up. So he's getting ready to punch him in the face when Derek finally wakes up in his fist. Um, he then catches up Derek with everything that happened since he then passed out. You know, and they said they got to leave the hospital because the police is coming, and Derek, kind of concerned for his sister right now. We then have outside Chris Arden hears a howl and tell Allison that is a sign, that is a signal that the Alpha Pact is retreating. Isaac reminds Peter that the last time he saw the Ardens was when Peter killed Kate Arden. Peter escapes his SUV without a word. I'm like, he doesn't wait. Deuces. Derek then arrives and moves Cora from Arden's car into his own car, and Allison wants to know, where's everybody else? Where's Styles, Scott, and Scott's mom? Derek's like, okay, Styles is at the hospital, and Jennifer took Scott's mom, and he doesn't want to even get into, hey, Scott, left with Duke Alien. It's, don't need people freaking out, it's already bad enough. Back in the emergency room, we have Styles seeing a field agent from the FBI. So you like, oh snap, this is not gonna be good, you know. And I was trying to figure out, why he was I mean, I know why he has to be on the defensive because everybody's werewolf and stuff, but I didn't know why he's so on the defensive with this particular FBI agent until I got toward the end of it. So I was like, what? I did not see that coming. I'm gonna get to that later. Okay. So FBI just pretty much trying to get stuff out of him, like what happened here. Then he ends up finding out while the dude's talking that somebody left a name on the elevator door. So we end up seeing the elevator, and it has the word Argent on the door. So I'm like, oh snap! I knew it because obviously it was Jennifer, and she needs one more parent. So the only parent left that she got to take is Argent, Chris Argent, Allison's dad, because she got Stalinsky's daddy. She got Scott's mom. We need one more guardian. Can't do sacrifice without three. I'm back in Derek's life. Cora is pretty much sitting there dying, well, laying there dying, and Derek pretty much has no clue what to do right now. He doesn't know. He then lost two of his pack already. Boyd and the chick, I can't remember her name. Scott then went off with Duke Alien. It's just everything's just kind of falling apart right now, and the sister's sitting there dying. It's falling apart right now, just falling apart. So Isaac then condemns him for rolling around in the sheets with the casual killer while the rest of everybody else were trying to keep people from dying. My thing is, Isaac, I understand you upset, but Derek didn't know she was a killer. He just thought she was a beautiful teacher, and he needed some love and affection in the bedroom. He's still a guy, regardless if he's a wolf. He's still a man. He has needs too. And then he brings up, Boyd Erica's death, that's the name, and says Cora not dying, and pretty much Derek's doing nothing, and Isaac then, questions his motives for creating the pack, asking if he was bored or lonely, and Derek says maybe. Isaac then goes and says, he's going to figure out and try to help everybody while Derek sits here and perfects the art of doing nothing. Then we have Peter coming down the spiral staircase and tells Isaac not to, Derek not to take, Isaac's outburst so personally. He says Isaac's using his anger to excuse shifting allegiance from one alpha to another, from Derek to Scott. Derek points out that Scott isn't an alpha, and Peter said, well, he's sure on his way. He's a true alpha. He's getting there. He getting there. Back to the Argents. They get to the apartment. Chris Arden attempts to, calm his daughter down because, she's freaking out now, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, my dad's gonna be next. No, no, no. And he points out that he hasn't been living up to the guardian role. And Addison says no coincidence that Blake took Scott's mother and Styles' father, and Styles, as that someone put, the last name in a large block of letters at the hospital, like, it is a warning. I suspect that Miss Moriel is behind the warning, said the Guns Council knows a lot about what's happening, but it's not really her. And Styles was freaking out because they needed her because the lunar eclipse is coming up. It's 2 freaking nights away, and he's worried that his daddy could be already dead. You feel so bad for his character Styles. I'm like, oh my god, he already lost his mom. Now he doesn't want to lose his dad. It's just too much. He just want to hold him. Like, oh, it's gonna be okay, Styles. Chris disagrees, and he says Jennifer seems to be moving pieces into place. Constantly referencing chess all the time. Allison then points out that Chris is one of those pieces, and he said that he won't worry around for the next move. And like, what else you do is get taken. And Chris said, he is different because he's carrying a 45. I'm like, okay. And he says how she gonna heal from a shot to the leg and slash herself. He said Jennifer has shown that she could heal from a shot to the leg and slash her face, but he wonders how she gonna heal with half a skull blown up. I'm like, Chris Arthur is just straight up gangster. I like her daddy. My mama crazy though. I don't know how those two got together. Cause the more I see Chris Argent and I look at Allison's mom, I'm like, how the heck did these two get together? It's just seriously, it's like you question how the heck did they get together? Like, was she sweeter when she was younger? I don't know what happened. This is kind of like I want a flashback of that moment. Anyway, Chris then suggests that the placement of the sacrifice has to do with the strength of the currents. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the T word. Of the currents, and he points out the school, the animal clinic, and the bank on the map. Supposing that Jennifer might return to the spot if she fails to complete a sacrifice there the first time, they settle on the bank as a logical starting point. They did suggest, hey, we should get Lydia a helper. And Chris is like, why do we need to get Lydia? And Sal said, well, she has a tendency to find bodies without even trying. And so then he asked, well, is she psychic? So I was like, well, she's something. And we all know she's a banshee, but I don't think they know it yet, obviously. Cora, Brienne has become labored and wheezy, and Derek does his the wolf thing where takes some of the pain away, and he's cautioned about Derek to be careful, and Derek says he knows going too far could kill him. I did not know that, but it makes sense. Back at the Ardents, they is gearing up. Allison bringing her daggers, Daddy locking the low with some guns, and Styles is like, I thought you guys were retired. He's like, yes, we're retired, but the family is no, we ain't. I'm like, it was like a table full of like gear. I'm like, Jesus. Like if there ever was a zombie apocalypse, they would be prepared. That's a family that's prepared. That's what Jesus. Then Isaac arrives at the Ardents and he offers help. We then go back to Derek and Peter, and Peter explains that real wolves, like the real animal wolves, the one that's all on four, that's in the wild, those wolves, will go to extreme care for an injured member of the pack. He says that it will bring it food, chew it up, and then regurgitate it into the mouth of the injured wolf. They also give physical and emotional comfort by intensely grooming the injured, and in that way, are instrumental in the healing the wound. Derek says he wants less analysis of wolf behavior and more direct information on how you can save Cora. Like, okay, I get it. We're somewhat later to it, but now we're not real wolves, dude. So Peter says that he heard that Derek can use the extra spark of power that makes him an alpha that turns his eyes red and give him the extra strength and other alphabet. Pretty much take some of that, give the extra spark to pretty much heal Cora. But the price is high because if he does that, Derek would no longer be an alpha. He would be pushed down to a beta. And Peter said, it does not also work every time because it might actually end up killing him. So I'm like, that's a big risk. Derek says he's gonna do it anyway, and then we see Peter over there smiling. I'm like, this dude is always up to something. Like, seriously, you think coming back from the dead, you be a changed man? I'm just saying. No, he's still always up to something. Up to something. What is he up to? We didn't have Lydia sitting in her bedroom with her mom, who was offering to help cover the mark left on her neck from when Jennifer tried to pretty much kill her. And Miss Martin thinks her mom pretty much thinks it's a hickey, so she thinks so she says she developed some patent cover-up methods from having gotten a number of hickeys in high school. Lydia says she doesn't want to cover it up. She says she doesn't need to hide the fact that she survived. At the boat, Chris pulls a fast one. He shocks Isaac with his hair and then handcuffs his daughter to the safety deposit box. Chris then tells his daughter that she didn't operate on the current, that she was in sync with them. And then then he drops his 45, and then Jennifer comes in, and she saw that he didn't gave him and shocked locked his daughter up and shocked the other wolf. And she says this is sacrifice and pretty much takes him. Back to Lydia, she's in she's wondering why Scott would willingly join the Alpha Pact, but Styles says the look on Scott's face at the time suggested his choice was real. Lydia then offers her service as a human Geiger counter for death, but she says she doesn't know how she pretty much how she turned it on and off. She didn't realize that Jennifer was surprised that Lydia was a banshee, and that the teacher wanted her dead before she knew about her abilities. They come to the conclusion that Lydia was targeted because of something else she knew or something that Jennifer thought she knew. Isaac breaks Addison's handcuffs off and she clings to him for support. She is distraught pretty much off she lost her daddy. Because now her fear is like, oh my god, my dad is going to be next. Because now she got all three of them. So I'm pretty sure your nurse has the right to be bad at this point. Back to Peter and Peter and Derek. Peter tells Derek that he don't see the downside to giving up his alpha status since he hasn't been alpha of the year. And Derek said he doesn't care about the power, but Peter points out on the full moon is coming and Kylie's ultimatum is still standing. Peter tells Derek that he can't face it as a beta survivor because you could barely take her on as an alpha. You definitely ain't gonna be able to take her as no beta. And Peter also points out that it might be a trick, and he wonders if Jennifer planned for him to use up his alpha status, saving Cora, so that Derek will need Jennifer to face Kylie. Back at the school, we have Lydia is frustrated that Aiden isn't texting her back. Isaac texts Styles about Addison's dad. The news sends Styles into a panic attack, and you feel so bad for him. He's having trouble breathing, and his hands are shaking, and the world seems to spin. Back to the Argent. Chris Argent, he wakes up and he's tied up in the Nimton / root cellar. Sheriff Stellancy sees Chris, looks at recognition, suggests that he's been in the cellar before. Back in episode Visionary, we saw that episode. He has. So then we have Chris, check for a weapon, and Melissa and Sheriff Stellancy was like, she took them all. So he's like, what? Because he's like, he goes for his boot first. Like, she took that one. He goes for the back pocket. She took that one. He goes to the sleeve. Oh, she took that one too. I'm like, Jesus, she made sure she checked you out. We didn't have not Jake. Jennifer coming in said she also removed the taser he also had. She begins to dab at his head wound and while discussing how truth becomes altered by legend, she pointed out that the word that argent is a French word for silver. And she said that the legend says that pretty much werewolves can be killed by silver is wrong. And she says the truth is not actually the metal silver that kills werewolves, but the family. Referring to them being werewolf hunters. She then talks about their hunter's code, which is we hunt those who hunt us. Jennifer said she'd like to borrow the code for a little while since I've been hunting myself. Chris said it's pretty not the same thing because you're killing innocent people. And then she's like, no, it's not killing, it's a sacrifice. No, bitch, you killing people. You killing innocent people because you pissed off that your pack member, your pack leader, colleague killed everybody in the pack and she killed you. Okay? That's between you and her. Don't bring everybody else into your drama. You bring everybody else into your drama, okay? This is not needed, yeah. She also says that Chris and the others are making the town and the world safer for their children. And then she looks at Melissa and as the Kavit, well, most of them, because obviously Scott is aware now. Then we have Lydia managing to get Styles in the locker, and she's trying to calm him down, and then she ends up kissing him. So I'm like, whoa, how long has Styles been waiting for that kiss? I'm just saying, we've been seeing him have a crush on her since season 1. I'm just saying, it's about time we had a kissing moment. I'm sadly it had to come through for him having a panic attack, but still. So when they end up breaking the kiss, Styles is back to breathing normally and wonders aloud how Lydia knew to do that. She explains that she read that holding your breath could stop a panic attack, and while she was kissing him, Styles was holding his breath because obviously he was shocked that, oh my goodness, she's kissing me. He then said that she's smart, and Lydia said if she really was smart, she would tell him to sign up for a few sessions with a guidance counselor. This leads him to think Miss Morial might know what it is about Lydia that Jennifer thought was dangerous. So they get to the guidance office to find Danielle. Wait for Miss Morial. She says she got some issues to work on, so y'all need to wait. So then they realize, she is waiting here 20 minutes. She's late, and they realize that Miss Morial is never late. And then Styles like she's not late, she's missing. Styles then wants to know what Moriel knows and starts to sort through a desk. The two are framed photos, both are young children on a desk. Styles comes up with Lydia's file and finds a number of drawings of the same tree. It's the same tree over and over on several pages. Daniel decides that Lydia has bigger issues than she does and leaves. Styles then rushes off. He figures out that it's the Nemton and he turns it upside down to realize that the way she's drawn it is actually the root system, and realize, hey, it's the Nemton, it's the root cellar. Yay, we found it. Yes, we did it. No hicimos. Okay. Styles and Leah then rush out to find the Nemton, but Styles is caught up short by the same FBI agent earlier. Styles sends Lydia to Derek since both he and Peter have been, there before, because we all know that history. The agent informs Styles that his dad's car has been in a school parking lot overnight and that a sheriff is officially missing. It's like, why does it take pretty much take 24 hours for a person to be considered officially missing? As soon as that parent, or somebody reports a person missing, you should take that as seriously as missing. Like, oh no, maybe they just ran away, or maybe they're at a friend's house. No, bitch, maybe that child's missing. Why you gotta wait 24 hours? Because now at that time point, the killer could be, who knows how far away the killer could be. I'm just saying, I just find that idea of how the police have to handle a missing persons case just ridiculous. Like, seriously, you gotta wait 24 hours to report a person officially missing. Like, really? That child could be raped or whatever, killed, scalped. Who knows? People is crazy nowadays. You know what I'm just saying. I just thought that rule was always so stupid. Like, why you gotta wait 24 hours? It's stupid for me. He then takes the boys to an empty classroom and kind of questions him, like, I know you know something to help me. And then Styles replied with some humorous verbal gymnastics. And then he asks about Scott, Isaac, Allison, Aiden, and Ethan because y'all little clique didn't show today. And Styles like, I don't have a clique. The agent then grows frustrated, pointing out that the disturbing amount of violent activity in Beacon Hills of late and the number of murders is tied to the school. Styles still says nothing. The agent then says Styles shouldn't go home and asks if there's someone he can stay. Doc Deaton comes in and says he can stay with him. Lydia then arrives at Derek's office, and there's an awkward moment. She sees Peter for the first time since she brought him back from the dead. Miss Moriel is running in the woods at night. She stops to look behind for her pursuers, and we hear howling. The twins and Kylie come flipping through the woods. It's like the flipping necessary. That all extra martial arts stuff isn't really necessary. Just chase the woman. I mean, you don't gotta do all this flipping and stuff. It's not necessary. We then have Scott and Deucalion standing in the clearing. Deucalion's special vision picks up a bright glow, but as the image resolves, we only see as a firefly. Scott points this out, and Deucalion says that the insect is unusual for this reason. Scott realizes that the firefly is the deer that ran to Lydia's car, and the cat and the bird suicides happened just before Jennifer started her killing spree. Deucalion speculates that since animals can sense natural disasters like earthquakes, they may also be able to sense supernatural disasters. So pretty much they're reacting to Jennifer like, oh snap, stuff is going on. The balance is upset. The balance of the world, it needs to be fixed. Lydia is surprised that it's kind of like, oh my god, that Peter and Derek don't remember the Nemton even though they've both been there. Peter explains that Talia, who is Derek's mom, took away the memories from both he and Derek because she didn't want them going back. Now I'm like, oh great, now how are they gonna find it? We didn't have Miss Moriel still fleeing through the woods. She comes to a moonlit clearing and throws a handful of mountain ash powder into the air. It comes down, forming a perfect circle around her. The Alpha Twins crash into the barrier, and the Throne Saber be back. Then we have Deucalion approaches and inquires how Marion knew that they would come for her. She says she figured they would come to kill her because she and Jennifer are the same, and Deucalion has always been suspicious of druids and of what they can do. Kylie said they have a good reason to be suspicious, saying they know that Moriel sent the girls to save Isaac back in the first episode. Moriel said the girl name was Brayden and that she sent her to do what Moriel always done, maintain balance. Kylie wants to know what Moriel knows about Jennifer. The druid says she knows nothing more than the Alpha Pack already knows. She then turns her attention to Scott, telling him to go back to his friends. Deucalion says Scott can decide for himself, but Moriel says he doesn't have all the information to pretty much make his decision. She said Deucalion neglected to tell Scott how many bodies have piled up in Deucalion's narcissistically psychotic efforts to form your perfect pack. Moriel then asked Kylie that it was Deucalion that killed Enos, explaining that Deedon saved the Alpha before Deucalion arrived. Moriel says getting Kali to go after Derek is simply a tactic to get Derek to join the Alpha Pact, which would pave the way for Scott. Dukillion says she's lying because she's begging for her life. No, she ain't lying. You didn't kill that boy. He was perfectly fine. You killed him. He then takes his cane, pops off the tip, revealing a blade, and throws it at Moriel. Pierces her chest, and she stumbles back, breaking the line of mountain ash, which pretty much breaks her protection. Scott rushes to her side and warns off the others. He then pulls the spear from her chest. Moriel tells Scott about the Nimton, saying, "You'll find that, you'll find Jennifer." Outside of the Nimton, we see a stump of a large tree sitting in sandy, barren soil. There's also a set of wood slate double doors set into a slightly swollen mound of earth. It's the entrance to the roof shelter, pretty much. Inside the setup, we have, Chris struggling against his rope, and Mrs. Light, we already tried that for hours, no success. Felicity says that, mentioned that, Arjun's werewolf in him. Melissa just smiles and lets Chris know that she filled in Sheriff on the supernatural. When Felicity says he was feeling a little left out, Chris says you knew, and he then relates the story about the first time they actually met. Before Felicity was a sheriff, he had questioned Arjun about his body. Chris says Felicity knew something was up, but he wasn't pretty much ready to believe it. And we go to this background story of the night his wife died. It happened years ago. He was working in a car crash. A girl was trapped. She said that he needs to go. You need to be with her. And he knew that she was talking about his wife. But then a part of him was like, no, there's no way in the world this teenage girl knows what's going on with my wife. So he stayed there with the girl. And when they finally pulls out the crash, she dies. And then when he gets to the hospital, he sees his son, Styles, in the winning air with his hands in, and he realized that Styles had been with Claudia at the end, but the sheriff was not. He had missed saying goodbye to his wife because he didn't believe. Styles, Lydia, Allison, and Isaac have joined Dean at the animal clinic as they work out how to find the Nimton. Styles believes it must be on the current or at the convergence of the current. Allison said Gerard claims he can't remember the location, although he and Chris have been there once before. Dean said there might be a way to do it, but it's dangerous and they'll need Scott. Styles and Dean meet Scott in the woods. He said none of the Alphas know where the Nimton is located. Styles questions if Scott plans to tell the Alphas if they figure it out. Scott says he can't stop Jennifer without him. Dean explains that Scott, Styles, and Addison will have to serve as surrogate sacrifices for their parents. The plan means that the three friends will be dead for a few seconds before Dean brings them back. Their deaths will supercharge the Nimton and that it will attract supernatural creatures to Beacon Hills. When Styles point out that it doesn't sound any worse than they already endured, Dean is like, you'd be surprised at what you had seen. Granted, because the fact that he's a druid, so we know he knows a little bit more about mythical creatures. He was looking at him like, dude, I'm a druid. Trust me. There's some things you have not seen and you don't want to see. Dean says also that with them dying would have to take a personal toll on the trio and that it will leave a permanent darkness around their hearts. In the Nimton, Chris's wiggling has paid off and he has managed to retrieve a mini version of the Hunter's ultrasonic emitters. He tells Melissa and the sheriff that they usually use them to push werewolves away, but he hopes this time it will draw them to the cellar. Because, it's a sound that we can't hear, but they can. Back in the law, Peter and Derek debate saving Cora with Kali's deadline looming in the lunar eclipse that will leave them powerless a couple of nights away. I was like, it's about to go down. Back at the clinic, we have 3 large cells filled with ice, water, and some mistletoe. Dean asks Scott, Styles, and Allison have they brought something personal that belongs to their parents. Styles brings his daddy's badge. Allison brings a silver bullet made by her father. I said father. And Scott brings his watch that was given to his mother by his dad. And Melissa jokes that it was the only thing about the marriage that worked. Dean then describes the process. He then says that each one will get in and will be held underwater until they are essentially dead. He says the person holding them must be able to pull them back, meaning an emotional attachment of some sort. Lydia steps toward Allison since they are friends, but Dean says you need to go with pretty much what says the attachment is with Styles. Allison looks suddenly at Isaac in an unspoken exchange. They realize that Isaac will pretty much act as her emotional tether to the world of the living. Scott gives his blessing to the union, but looks less than pleased, like, oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really? You and Isaac? Really? Scott Tether is Dean since the vet has served as a father figure on more than one occasion, and Scott was responsible for saving his life, because it was worried at first, because we all know that from past 2 seasons, the thing that usually kept Scott from going to that point of no return was Allison, so that's why she was worried from there, like, wait a minute, but we both have to go under, like, oh snap, can't, but it's gonna work out, hopefully. So they slip into the tub and they, shivering because it's like ice water is like freaking cold. Woo. And then Styles tells them that Scott's father is in town. So we like, what? His daddy? Who's his dad? What? Who's his dad? What? So then we see the FBI agent from early in the episode, sitting in Scott's room. He looks at the paper bag of the A Tale of Two Cities from the floor and seems to be crying in Thursday's room. So it's what they're saying with this scene is that, yo, this is his puppet. His dad is an FBI agent. Back in the loft, we have Derek taking Cora in his hand and grips her arms in the other hand. He begins to siphon off the pain, and as he does, his arms, muscles, and the veins therein begin to pulse and bulge. He wolfs out, sending a silent roar skyward as his eyes transform from alpha red back to beta blue. Throughout this exchange, Peter watches with unconcealed excitement. What is Peter up to? Like, seriously, what is he up to? Scott, Styles, and Aston are waiting in their little tubs. Each of their tethers reach out and push them under the water. After a few seconds in slow motion, we have Scott's eyes fly open and glow yellow as darkness flows through the water until it is absolute. So that episode was what? He might be Scott's dad. This stuff is just going down on this episode. I can't wait for the Lunar Eclipse episode because I want to see what's gonna go down and what is Peter up to because I just don't trust him. It's like, oh, what is he up to? But anyway, that was a pretty good episode for yesterday, and I'm kind of sad that the season is literally pretty much over, almost over. We have one episode left. It's kind of sad, really. But anyway, that was a really good episode. Um, you can comment, rate, subscribe if you want. What do you think about this episode so far? Do you think that the FBI agent is Scott's dad? Will they be able to come from under their the death thing? What other supernatural creatures could we possibly use in Teen Wolf? Cause I know they said they were never gonna do vampires since we kind of have enough of that already. What you think about it? We have Vampire Diaries and there's True Blood. We don't need no more vampires. I think we have enough. We don't need any more. So that's a good thing. They're not gonna use vampires. So they're gonna use other creatures of from different cultures, which is good because every culture has their own mythology and supernatural creatures pertaining to their their cultural beliefs and stuff, which would be good to get into that because right now we're kind of dealing with Celtic stuff. So next time you might deal with some Mayan stuff or Bulgarian or Romanian or African or who knows. There's endless possibilities. But anyway, comment, rate, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time for the last episode. Deuces.